welcome to Raising Digital Citizens 4 out of 5. Did you just wave?
I did.
Nice. The episode where we talk about all kinds of things online relating to parenting in this digital age, in this system that definitely isn't designed for our kids. I have, my name is Søren. I have with me Jessica, who is my wife, business partner, and all-around wonderful person. You have been in parenting for many years. This is not an official question, by the way. This is my little, and so you've written books, bestsellers, may I add, translated into many languages. But your latest endeavor is this box kit here that I have in front of me, which is, apart from a lot of instructions and guides and what have you, is a lot of questions that you can, and prompts that you can do with your children. We have a question about this. Is what age should anyone start considering using this?
Well, in my opinion, it's ideal to start when kids are still listening to you. So this is what some psychologists call the crucial years. Okay. And so I would say ideally that's between like 7 and 12, because when they get to, even 13, when they start to get a little bit older, you can still absolutely do this together, especially with siblings. They work really well. But, they do tend to individuate a little bit, and any parents of teens will know this feeling. So it's I find it's much more effective when you catch them around, anywhere from 7 to 13, I would say.
I was afraid we weren't going to get a number out of you. So kids are different, and you mentioned when they listen to you. Some kids never listen. Nobody's ever listened.
Oh, they listen a little bit more. They tend to like you a bit more before
the teenage.
Yeah, the teenage years, which is a bit different from child to child. So again, some kids can start at 7. You think they can start even younger. I'm not sure. I don't totally agree, but I think every child is different, and some people have told us they're doing these with 17-year-olds. So depends.
I'm just going to jump into this one because I see here there's another question relating to age, which says, "What age should my child get a phone?" That's not an easy one to answer, I know. But
no,
what's your take on it?
I think it's also very, very individual. I think it really depends on a lot of factors. The readiness of your child, the responsibility level of your child, the level of trust which has been built, which is also what this is about like developing a relationship built on trust. And I think that comes from the knowledge that we have about what goes on in the online world. But if you want to wait till 16, I think that's fantastic. It's a bit challenging today, but I think it's very individual.
And maybe we should also broaden the scope a little bit, because here the question was a phone. But we're talking to a lot of parents that even if they delay the phone, they find their children very often exposed to all kinds of online media, gaming, social media, at friends' houses, at sleepovers. So it's a very big challenge to keep them away completely from any device or any screen.
Yes, I think the reality is what we have to be really aware of, and what we talk about a lot, is this idea that the real world and the digital world are becoming much more mixed. And so this idea of separating them and that we can wait is a little bit of a fallacy, I think, because our kids are actually in the digital world from very early on, even on our own devices. So I think it's important that we start to sort of see it that way, and just prepare them and ourselves as early as possible. Yeah. Shall I ask you a question?
If you want to.
Okay. How can I get more screen balance at home?
How can I get more screen balance at home?
We've had this challenge before.
Yeah, we've had it ourselves. I want to just, again, I think we mentioned this before, but I have a little, the hairs stand up on my arms. Do you say that in English?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yes. Something like that, yeah.
All right. I get goosebumps. No, that's
not
something
right.
else. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, they stand up on arm. I get a little reaction when I hear screens as the overall determination of what is good and bad. Because it isn't just screens. There are so many different things that kids and ourselves can do online and with their screens. So I think we really need to distinguish between that. So you know, when your kids are co-playing with somebody else, they're engaged in something extremely creative. Why should we have a limit? You know, too much is too much, and there are some reports coming out from you know, the damage that can be done to your eyes just by looking at a screen and not getting enough natural light. But just to put it to the very extreme, I'd say, you know, if it's really good content, it's very different than those terrible minutes where they're sucked into to something.
I would just add, I think also in terms of getting balance, totally agree. There's a difference between quality and quantity, and I think we can also help our kids get more involved in quality. I mean, you've even offered rewards to our son to play chess online, or to do things that are, you know, more, let's say, that are better for them. However, I think another way that helps to get balance is by actively involving yourselves, going out and, like, going out camping, or, you know, us taking the time to help get balance and model balance as well is important.
Yeah, I think also, rather than maybe before you restrict, if you encourage other behavior, it's probably better. So put up some alternatives that can be used, that are attractive for the child to try to do. And as you say, model the behavior. It really doesn't work to sit on your phone and say, get off the screen. And having an active lifestyle outside screens for us as parents is absolutely crucial. So this thing, what do you think about this? I have this thing about rewarding with screen times. Would you do that? I hear a lot of arguments against it, that you wouldn't say, if you do this, you can be so much on your screen. It's always sounds a little fishy to me. Or what's also used a lot is the punishment. You know, and I think many parents have found that it's an amazingly effective punishment, because unfortunately we have our kids being addicted to screens, and so if you force them off it, I'll give them some punishment related to that. But what do you think of that?
Of rewarding them with screens or punishing? I mean, both. I think I wouldn't probably do either, or try to avoid it. Also because I think punishing screens, one of the things we have to be very aware of is, and I think this is something that gets dismissed too often by parents, is how much it means for their social life. And like I said, I hear it over and over and over again, how kids feel dismissed, they feel unseen. And like in the same way that we want to be aware of their social life and the meaning of belonging and being part of a group means to them in real life. I mean, the digital world, which we're saying now is mixing, is just as important. So sometimes punishing, taking the screen away, is also taking away their social life. And I mean, I think in an ideal scenario, we involve them in being more aware of their own limits. And what we're doing as well is like making agreements together, so that they're very much involved in the sort of, you know, the punishment or the, you know, what happens when you overuse, or even just setting screen limits. I think is helpful.
And that comes back to maybe the last question we have for today, which is this one: is how much screen time is too much? I mean, I always get a shock when I hear the numbers that are, by the way, going up at an incredible rate. What is it? I had it written down somewhere. From 2019 to today, teens are 29% more. US teens are 29% more on their screens, and that's for an 8-hour. 40% of teens say that they spend more than 8 hours a day. The 8 to 12-year-olds, it's 20% that spend, but 8 hours. And by the way, this is 8 hours that isn't including schoolwork, and it's on a weekday. These are weekday numbers. It always shocks me. But again, back to what we just talked about, is a lot of that can be quality. So I think it's important to break it down with your child. What is these hours being used? You know?
And again, you know, coming back to this thing about awareness. I mean, one of the things we found with our son was we had him actually map out for us like how he used his day. This was like he wanted to get another app or a different app on his phone, and so we had him. Okay, in order to do that, like how do you spend your day and write the timings, and this included like playing basketball, this included, you know, doing homework or all these other things that he does. And what was interesting was the time that we would have given him, he actually gave himself less than we would have given him. Yeah. And after we made this chart, or he made this chart, he noticed how much more he was aware of his time. Yeah. And I think that is really key. That's a big win, is when you get your child themselves to be more aware of their screen use. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Maybe we should show that little.
Where is that chart? Do you know where it is?
It's in the other. I can't stand up.
I'm never going to be able to find it right now. But let's
we'll
do
bring
it.
That
we'll
out
bring that the
time.
next.
Okay.
The next
Very
one.
good. Very good. But yeah, again, it is. You've said it many times. Kids are different. The apps are different. So don't impose this amount of hours, and try and get them out of the screen with other interesting
I would
things.
say one more thing, because obviously for smaller kids this is more difficult. You know, our son is 13 now. Smaller kids, it's not as easy to have them write down charts and think about timings and all that stuff. So I think we both agree, for younger kids it is important that you have some time limits, and you can set time limits on phones to be aware of. But a trap that many parents fall into, we were also guilty of this when our son was younger, is when they finish that time limit, then they come to you and they say, can I have more? And it's very easy to just say, okay, because maybe you're busy, you're doing something else. So really, I mean, we learned a lesson on that. It's like, don't impose it unless you're willing to follow through, because otherwise, no doesn't mean no. And so I would say have some plans, know how the time is going to be spent for younger kids, wouldn't you say? Absolutely.
And in an ideal world, if you have a very good dialogue with and I know a lot of the questions that you guys have made in this ones are about that conversation and entering the dialogue, so the child sees also these differences, and they're smarter than we think, and they'll understand a lot of these things. How does it make you? I think you have one. How does it make you feel if you spend too much time? And I think it's great to get kids to reflect on that and take ownership of this process themselves. So, but okay, that was. I think that's it for today. We've run out of questions, and as you can probably sense here, our message is not about having all the answers, but it's about being curious and having the right conversations. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for being with us. Yeah, see you soon.
See you next time.